President Trump is about to mark his 100th day in office. It comes as a key campaign promise is to end the war in Ukraine, and against the backdrop of that extraordinary meeting between President Trump and President Zelenskyy. Mr. Secretary, is Russia and Ukraine now closer to a deal in the wake of that meeting?
Well, I think they're closer in general than they've been any time in the last 3 years, but it's still not there. And as I said, and he has said, and others have said, he's done an extraordinary job at the highest levels of our government. The president has put out everybody you can imagine, Ambassador Witkoff, myself, the National Security Advisor, the Vice President, been involved and engaged in this effort to bring the two sides closer so we can have path to peace. By the way, that's something that should be celebrated. He's trying to end a 3-year war that has no military solution, where every day people are dying, especially on the Ukrainian side, in many cases civilians and children, as we've seen the images over the last few weeks. He's trying to bring this war to an end. And we've made real progress. But those last couple steps of this journey were always going to be the hardest ones, and it needs to happen soon. We cannot continue as I said, to dedicate time and resources to this effort if it's not going to come to fruition. So the last week has really been about figuring out how close are these sides really, and are they close enough that this merits a continued investment of our time as a mediator in this regard.
What is the timeline? Are you talking weeks or months? How long are you willing to give them to reach a peace agreement?
Well, I always think it's silly to set a specific date or whatever, but I can just tell you that almost 100 days into this presidency, the president has dedicated a tremendous amount of time and energy to this. And we think we brought the sides closer than they've been in a very long time, but we're not there yet, and it needs to start happening. We need to start, I think this is going to be a very critical week. This week is going to be a really important week in which we have to make a determination about whether this is an endeavor that we want to continue to be involved in, or if it's time to sort of focus on some other issues that are equally, if not more important in some cases. But we want to see it happen. There are reasons to be optimistic, but there are reasons to be realistic, of course, as well. We're close, but we're not close enough.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.